The Discovery and the Horus were about halfway to Duna now. At this point, they would make a few course corrections in order to make sure that they would arrive at Duna. While the Discovery would spin slowly in order to create artificial gravity at the base of the craft, the KU and its scientists and engineers would build the Horus with a different type of artificial gravity. Back on Kerbin, the Mimas missions had brought back tons of scientific data. However, this was still not enough in order to crack the secrets to long-range communications. It started to become obvious of what they had to do next. For the most part, the moons of Kerbin had been mostly explored by remote-controlled spacecraft. However, there were plenty of sites still untouched by Kerbals. The problem was that these sites were far few and in between. Not only that, but a typical lunar mission could only bring back scientific data from one site per mission. In order for them to explore every single site under the roof of one mission, they would need to have a permanent residence on the lunar surface. The three nations would scrape together what little they had left to build Kerbin's very first lunar outpost.
30.
Status check. Go Delta. Rainboard.
25.
Flight lock-in. T-minus 20 seconds.
15.
Rope ignition.
10.
The igniters have been lit.
8. 7. 6.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lift them up. Put engine control on the first stage. Handling 25 seconds.
Everything was going according to plan until they found out that they did not have enough fuel to land on the lunar surface. Unfortunately, they had used up too much fuel in getting into orbit around the moon. This was very bad. The URA and the AMS, along with their friends at the UKC, had spent almost every dime they had in getting the base up there. The three nations simply did not have enough funding left over to send a refueler into lunar orbit. That's when the plan was made. Not to send a refueler all the way into lunar orbit, but to send it into low Kerbin orbit to dock with the International Space Station. plan was to refuel the Charon. The Charon itself could hold a lot more fuel than a typical refueler. This meant that it could go to the moon and back with fuel to spare, fuel that it could transfer over to the lunar base. While there, the Charon could also top off their supplies. The Charon, designed to be a warship, built to be an explorer, and now a rescue vessel, the Charon had become the first multi-mission capable spacecraft.
Job to Charon. Board is green, you are clear to undock. Roger that, clearing space dock. First officer, set course for moon. Roger that, setting course for moon. You guys are sight for sore eyes, you know that? Good to see that you're okay, comrade. Now, let us begin. Beginning refueling maneuvers.
The Luna base did have docking ports for refueling purposes. However, these docking ports were underneath the boosters. The docking ports that were on the base were actually designed to refuel land vehicles, vehicles that would be sent to the base in the near future. In order to unveil these docking ports, the base would have to jettison these two boosters. The boosters would be jettisoned retrograde so that there wasn't any junk being left in orbit. But now there was a new problem. The base had two less boosters and a whole lot of fuel on top of that to boot. There were doubts at whether or not the base could land safely on the lunar surface anymore. Mission Control was on the verge of pulling the plug on the whole thing. They would then have them all come back to Kerbin on the Charon. It took some serious convincing by the base commander and his crew, but they finally changed the mind of Mission Control and were able to proceed with the moon landing.
Charon to Luna base, refueling complete, permission to undock. Permission granted, Charon, and thank you for the help. They will monitor your descent and give you telemetry to make sure you're okay. Copy that, Charon. Much appreciated. Everyone buckled up? Begin landing sequence in 3, 2, 1. Base to Mission Control. Positioning achieved. Waiter, go for anchor. Roger that, Luna base. Go for anchor. Roger that. In 3, 2, 1.
For the first time in Kerbal history, Kerbals were living on another world other than Kerbin. This event in history would create a revolution that would sweep across the three nations. Together, the three nations were capable of anything, Together, they would move forward, gathering allies and creating a better, brighter future for all of Kerbal kind.
In you the people have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!